this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a layout for my Ireland scrapbook, and this is a continuation of our Book of Kells, but this one we're going to use some peekaboo pockets because I have a lot of photos I would really like to include, but I really don't want to do, you know, a whole bunch more layouts. So I'm going to add a few peekaboo pockets to save me that need. And today we're going to do some photos that focus on the way that the monks made their pigments that they used in translating and illustrating these books of scripture. So let's take a look at this layout. It is going to be based on one of the April Creative Memories blog virtual crop sketches. I think it's number 4. I'll have to take a look. Well, I'll be able to show you in just a second, but it should come together really well, and I'm excited to show you the use of these peekaboo pockets in kind of a waterfall format, because that's not something that I do very often. So let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. All right, so these are the photos that we're going to be working with today, and I kind of laid them out on my page already just to kind of get an idea of how many we had and whether I could fit what I wanted to fit on this page or how I might go about doing it. The reason is because this is the last layout from the Book of Kells, and I really didn't want to have to do a whole nother layout for just a couple of extra photos that I wanted to make sure got included, as I mentioned in the introduction just a second ago. So I decided what I would do was kind of include all of the rest of the photos on this 2-page layout, and I'm going to do a very simple outline that's going to go, or border kind of, that will go all the way around all 4 edges of this page, or all, like the top, the bottom, and both sides, not in the middle, just to give it a little bit of something. And then I'm going to mat a few photos as well, just to kind of accent them, and then we'll add some embellishments and be done. Well, because there really isn't a lot of journaling that needs to go on this page. A lot of the photos I took were of the explanations that explain the photos. So yeah, right here, these 2 photos, maybe my fantastic editor can zoom in on these 2 photos and help you see them better, but these 2 photos outline exactly what are in these photos down here, which will be in our peekaboo pockets, and they showcase the different elements that were used to create the pigments that the monks used as they did the artwork that you see here. And then we have the star of the show. This is the actual Book of Kells. This is a facsimile, and then this down here is what we got to see. A little bit underwhelming, as you can imagine, because we happened to be there on a day when it was more or less the table of contents, so not a lot of art that we were witnessing or got to see, but we did see it in these photographs, and they had a separate facsimile of other pages inside the book that we got to see. So that was cool. That's not actually what we saw, but this is what we actually saw. Anyway, so let's go ahead and cut and punch some paper, and then we'll get this put together, and we'll talk about how to add layers of peekaboo pockets, because that's what we're going to be doing today in a couple of different spots. So I'm just going to very carefully set those pages to the side so that I can refer back to them. I have this punch that I've gotten out, and I don't use this one much, but this is what was called the basket weave punch, and this is not a frame punch, but we are going to use it like a frame punch today, and I'm hoping that this all works. It should work. We're going to use this paper right here to mount our photos, because this page I think would not be good for framing. So I'm going to use this one as the border, and then this one over here to back some of the photos. Okay, so if you remember correctly, when we create a frame, and you may be wondering how in the world I'm going to use one piece of paper to frame 2 pages. Well, I've not done this before, so I'm crossing my fingers that this works, but it should work. So we're going to put corner to corner on our punch, and I'm going to start my punch with the corner of my triangle just barely showing outside the punch right here. You can't even probably see it from your vantage, but we're going to start punching there, and then we're going to move that punch out and over, and we're going to go over, I believe it's 3 times. Let's see, that's the second one. This is punching a lot of different pieces, so that's why it makes that huge crunch, crunch, crunch sound when it goes down. Okay, so I'm going to punch that far, and then I'm going to flip my paper over this way, and I'm going to punch again. I'm going to bring my corner out so it's just barely showing. And punch and slide. That's ought to be the mantra I have on the back of my car or something. Punch and slide. Punch and slide. Occasionally, when you're working with these punches, you get what I just got, a connecting line, because I didn't quite get it to meet up. So I'll have to go back in there with my precision cutting scissors and fix that. And I'm going to just do just a little bit further. That might have been too far, but we'll see. Okay, then I'm going to take this and I'm going to line up the design going the other direction to finish it. Okay, so we're gonna line that up best you can. Doing my corners first, just lining those up the best I can, because those are going to be the important part, not this middle bit. Okay, so then we're going to place this in our, I think I'm going to wish that I had punched that. Oh, but the pattern's lining up, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Woo, we have a lot of punch confetti from this punch. Okay. So I'm going to line up this outer design much as I possibly can. I'm going to find where that matches, and it's not matching. So let's flip it over and line it up going the other direction. There it goes. You can really tell when it's finally where it needs to be to match up. Okay, so there's that one. And then to this side. Okay. Ta-da! All right, so this is just extra. We're just going to set that aside for right now. We're going to come back to that, so don't get rid of it. Okay, so let's open this up and check it out here real quick. All right, so we have some definite corners in the corner, which we probably could punch out of there if we wanted to punch them out, or we can leave them there and just make them sort of decorative. Just getting rid of my confetti there. So something to think about. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're just going to punch a couple of straight borders. So notice that this is one of those punches that when it's lined up correctly, it gives you a little notch. I'm just going to trim the notches off really quickly with my scissors, because I don't want those to interfere with how I'm going to line the paper up in the punch as I go back in and just make a couple of straight borders. And I probably don't need to trim them from all four sides, but I am, just in case we decide we need all four sides. Okay. So now let's go back in here and I'm going to find a nice clean side. I'm going to look for these two, if you can see those two lines inside the punch, one here and one here. Those are the starting marks for the punch. When you are starting to just make a border, you need to use the one on the left or the one on the right to get started. So you line your paper up with the edge on, this is on the left hand mark, and I'm just going to go ahead and punch my way across this. When you have a punch that you've punched a lot of pieces out of, it can sometimes get hung up. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind. I see I have to go back and get this little bit that I missed. Okay, hold on. Love it when I have to manhandle a punch on camera. Sometimes my punches, if I would love to say it only happens if it's a punch that we've used a lot, and certainly that definitely happens when you've got a punch that you've used a lot. But sometimes when there are a lot of pieces that have to get punched out, you'll find that your punch likes to get stuck, and that is simply I think it's just because there's lots of different pieces that it's trying to navigate and punch out for you. But sometimes it's a little more of an issue than that. I find, oddly enough, that if you just set the punch down with relative surety, I don't want to say slam your punch down on your tabletop, but sometimes slamming it down like that is very helpful and will right whatever it happens to be stuck. So something to think about and consider, I guess. Not my favorite thing to do. But I suppose you could take out your aggravation, if you have aggravation in your life, on your punches. Now see, it's actually don't want to jinx it, but it's actually working much better now that we've slammed it down a couple times. That is not a metaphor for life. Okay, so there's another one. I'm just going to do one more just in case we need it when we go to assemble. We'll have it. And if we don't, then I'll have something extra that maybe I can add to another page somewhere. All right. Okay, now I'm going to grab my trimmer and we're going to do some quick trimming on our 12-inch piece right here. Okay, so I'm going to just take this, I'm going to fold it back in half, however it wants to fold in half with your previous folds that you made. Line up that corner with the inside corner of what you've punched on your cutting line. Okay, so top corner, and this notch right here on the inside is lined up with where my blade is going to come through. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and close that down and cut it in half. Now, don't freak out. I am confident that this is going to work. Okay? Now, oh, let's go ahead and cut these mats really quick as well. Okay? So I'm going to use this paper because it has lines on it, like as if it were a ledger or something like that. I'm just going to cut three 4-inch strips down through the vertical, or down through the horizontal lines, not with them, but through them. Okay, so like that. Then I have a few different measurements I need to do. So according to the size of my photos, and I've trimmed a couple of them, I need 2 of these that are 5 1/4. So I'm just gonna measure out to 5 1/4 and cut 1 and 2. This piece is extra. Then I need one that is going to be a 4-inch square, and another one that's going to be 5 1/4. This bit is extra. And then I need one that's going to be 5 3/4. So I'm going to put my arm out, as you just saw, so that I can make sure that I have measured these appropriately. So that one's 5 3/4. This one's going to be 5 7/8. And I know that's oddly specific, but it's just because of the way that I trimmed my photo. So, all right, so those are the 2 that are a little bit more odd numbered, odd measurements. All right, now what I'm going to do is come through here and go ahead and mount the photos that need to be mounted on mats. Ooh, this one is a little long for what I thought it was going to be. Let's trim this one just a tiny bit. That's long too. Okay, there's those 2. Darn, I really should have measured these. I did not. I thought I knew, and I did not. All right, that should be good. essentially these mats are made by adding 1/4 of an inch to the measurement of the photo, so that you get about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, which is not a lot of a mat, to be honest, but sometimes all you need is just a touch of color, and that's all you would want, right? I actually think that might be the other one. Yep. All right. Now, putting the frames on is going to be a little bit more of a dicey proposition, so you'll just need to bear with me. I am going to kind of scoot a few of these things in and go ahead and adhere different portions of these at a time. Okay, so we're just going to do the one that's going to go around that corner right there. I'm going to use my repositionable adhesive. Let me check and see if there's anything that I need. There's one. I need to just trim out these little bitty pieces that where my punch didn't quite meet where I wanted it to, which in an intricate design like this sometimes can happen. But with some creativity and your precision point scissors, you can fix it for the most part. I'm going to trim out this little bit too. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and add our repositionable adhesive carefully. I'm kind of going to just follow the punch grain, as it were, for the most part, because I don't want to tear anything. Like that. This is going to go not right in the corner, but pretty close. I would say I'm pulling it away about 1/8 of an inch. And actually, I need to scoot it over just a smidge. Okay, so about there. Okay. All right, now we are going to take one of these, and after we lay these back out approximately where they're going to go, hold on, I need my magic tool. Here we go. Okay, so kind of like that, and kind of like that. These still need to be popped up there just a little. Okay, I'm going to take this one and how are we going to do this? I'm going to add this one in so that this corner is right about at the corner of where the frame would be. And spread that out. And then we're going to bring this back down And I'm going to cover, I'm going to trim this just a little bit, and I'm going to cover up this whole corner, so however this is not going to be as noticeable that there's no frame in this corner. Okay, so just like that. Or this may move in slightly, which is fine. But I definitely want that bottom edge to be covered so that it's not as noticeable. And then this one will do the same thing. I'm going to bring my mat all the way to the corner, all the way to the jeeping, so that it's not as noticeable that there isn't a border that goes all the way over there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of the photos that will go down flat. I'm not going to adhere the peekaboo pockets just yet. We'll talk about those in just a minute. I was hoping to cover that line up, but I set it down too quickly and my permanent adhesive just grabbed right on. Okay, this is the facsimile of the Book of Kells. That's what they called it. And then all the rest of these photos are on here. So let's go to our other page. Okay, so same thing we did before. I'm just going to check this real quick and make sure there's no areas that I need to go in with my scissors and sharpen up, but it looks pretty clean, so that's good. And we'll put our adhesive and then this one's going to go in effect the opposite corner of the one we did on the right hand side of the page. Okay, so like that. And then this photo would go all the way to the jeeping, just like its neighbor on the opposing page. This one I'm not going to put down yet because we need to do that border across the top. Alright, so I'm going to turn this around. So now the top is up here. We're going to come in here with another border and do the same thing that we did last time. So I'm going to make that meet at the corner about 1/8 of an inch from the top edge of the page. Alright, so we could, if we wanted to, we could come in here and add another little section, which measuring it off would be right there. And you could put this on your trimmer to make sure that you're getting a super straight cut, but I think most of this is going to be covered up, so except when I do something stupid and goofy like that. No. I don't know why I did that. That was crazy. Huh? I grabbed my permanent adhesive instead of grabbing my repositionable adhesive. So that is a hard lesson I keep having to learn over and over again. I don't know about you. I should move that out of the way when I don't absolutely need it. This piece is struggling. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and put this piece down. And again, we're not going to really notice that I've added that bit because we are sorry that I keep starting to talk and stopping to talk. So I'm just matching this other little bit right here to the corner, and I'm doing that so that I can add just enough for this edge to show, because I have a photo that's going to go in this corner that is not matted, and so that top edge is likely to show. So just in an effort to try to keep the integrity of that edge for the most part, I'm filling in that gap right there. Just tried to match the pattern just as much as I could. Okay, now this one is going to go just slightly in from the corner so you can see that pretty design like we mentioned before. And its partner will go next to it. We both talk about the same things. And my photos are crooked. This first photo is crooked, which is making the second photo crooked, which is not helpful to my cause because that adhesive does not want to let go. And because I put it on top of this really delicate punched area, okay, I'm just going to try to meet in the middle there. I think that'll be okay. And then this one is going to be in just a skosh as well. Well, I feel like we should probably try to copy the same design as the top. So this meets the jeeping on both sides. Alright, now these two are going over here on this page. These are going on this page. Now when you set up multiple pockets that you want to go together, notice how these are all of the pigments, the elements, minerals, and various different things that are used in the pigments. I have tried to place them in a bit of an order. So you see these in the top. When we flip it over, we still see the orange one, so it gives a little continuity. Here's the corner of what we're seeing up here so that we can have a reference. Okay. Now, my photos are not the same size as my peekaboo pockets. That's because these photos are digital sized and the peekaboo pockets are 4x6, so they are not the same. If you have that same issue and you're worried about your photos slip sliding around, I'm not worried about them sliding around within the pocket, but I'd rather them not look like that inside the pocket. So I'm going to put some adhesive on here and stick them together. So you want to make sure, if you're going to do that, that you are putting them together in the right direction, so that when you flip them over, the one underneath will be right side up. Ta-da! Okay, and I have a little bit of it showing, so I'm just going to kind of trim it just a little, because that's going to bug me. It's like it was cut wonky at the printer or something, because the print underneath is wider on both sides at the bottom, which is strange. Okay, because I did not cut either one of those. Alright, so this one is the one on the top. We're going to find the opening and make sure that the additional flap is on the top. And we're going to slide that in so that the one we want on the top is showing. Alright, so there's that first one. We're going to do the same thing with the second set of pictures. You can see I'm having the same dilemma with this pair of pictures. And sometimes that happens, where they just don't get trimmed the same way when they're printed. So then, trying to determine which one was next. I believe this one is the one underneath, because the rock is in the last photo. So this one will be here. And that goes underneath this one. And then this one is our base photo. Okay, so this one's going to be placed the lowest on our page. Okay, so I'm going to kind of center this where I want it on the page. And I'm allowing a little more of that pretty border to show, because I think it'll look nicer. Then I'm going to take the next peekaboo pocket up, and if you're not worrying about your protective sleeve that's going to go across this, you would take the adhesive off of here and go ahead and adhere this just a little above the base photo, and then adhere this one about the width of this flap above the next photo. Okay, but I want these to be able to go through my protective page, my page protector. So I'm not going to adhere these to my page right now. What I am going to do, though, is make some little tabs for the side of these so that we can know that we need to lift them up. Okay, so I'm going to grab my tab punch. I'm going to use the same paper that I used to create the outline around the decorative border that goes around the page. And I'm just going to make a couple of little punches. And in this instance, because I know I have two more on the opposite page, I'm going to just go ahead and make 4. That way I won't have to worry about coming back and making more later. Okay, so that's the tab punch, and I believe that is still currently available on the website at this point in time when this video is releasing. Alright, so then what we do is we take the tab punch and we carefully fold it in half so that those wide portions at the bottom match, and then go ahead and crease the top. If it makes you happy to go ahead and score it, you can score it, and then it will have a really nice crisp fold, but you don't really have to do that. It kind of folds naturally right there where the design goes in and then comes back out again. Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead and adhere some adhesive, and I'm going to put it on both sides so that I make sure that this stays attached. Okay? And we're going to just take this and put it right here on the side. Alright, and the adhesive all the way across the piece helps the whole thing just stay together. Okay? And then we can easily pick that up and flip it. So I placed this about 1 inch up from the edge of my peekaboo pocket because the peekaboo pocket underneath of it is going to also get one. I just need to add a little bit on this edge right there where I was holding it down. Oops, I forgot to fold this one. That's not a good omen. Alright, I'll just fold it the opposite way so the paper's kind of gets the hint, right? Then we're going to come in here and put this one right up to the edge, the front edge that's closest to me. Alright, so that the tab part still sticks out on the side, but the base rectangular shape is attached on either side of the peekaboo pocket. Okay? Now, typically when I have peekaboo pockets like this that I know are going to have to be put through my page protector, I wait and do that when the album is done. So you'll need to tune back in to a video that I'll do as this album is completed, and I'll show you how we attach these two peekaboo pockets onto the page through the page protector. Okay, let's go ahead and attach our other flags to this side of the layout. Not flags, these are tabs. Sorry. And these are going to go on this side, right where the page protector opens. So these are not, these we could go ahead and put on, I think, and it'll be okay. But I do need to still to secure these photos inside because you can see they're shifting, which is not what I want. And honestly, I don't know what the backwards S and forwards S in this photo represented. I wish I could tell you that. That would be brilliant, but I don't know. So, I am not helpful there. If you know, maybe you could share that with us in the comments. That would be grand. Alright, so we've got this one, and then this one. And again, I'm just sticking these together so that as they move around the peekaboo pocket, because I'm not attaching them to a base, which would be another way to keep them from shifting, they'll move around together. So I could cut a piece of paper to be like a mounting piece and then glue or adhere each of these to each side of that piece, and then they wouldn't shift back and forth, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, so I'm not too concerned about it. Okay, so these are going to go in here like this, so they'll flip open like this, and they just show some of the other artwork that was done. And I'm going to do the same thing that we did with the other. I'm going to shift one so that it's higher than the other, and the bottom one is going to meet the bottom of the photo underneath, bottom of the mat of the photo underneath. I'm going to go ahead and remember to fold first. For those of you who were telling the TV, thank you. Remember to fold first. So I'm just folding them both. so you don't have to tell me again. All right. So then we're going to add our adhesive, like so. And on this one, we'll go about 1 inch from the bottom. It does cover up a little bit of my photo, which is not really what I would prefer, but it works. It'll be okay. All right, and then this last one is going to go even with the bottom of my peekaboo pocket. Okay, so then I'm going to take this first one, because it's on the edge again, and I'm going to go ahead and put it down. Now, if you're not already familiar with a peekaboo pocket, then you may not realize, but there is adhesive already on this peekaboo pocket. You just have to get the cellophane off. Do you see that? That piece right there that's kind of reflecting? It's like a band-aid. You have to pull that off, and then that's the piece that gets adhered to the page. So I'm going to very carefully set that down. And actually, I'm sorry, because I'm stacking the two, I'm actually going to adhere these two together first. So I'm going to line up my creases in the fold up here and let those attach. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is because it'll make it easier when I attach them to my page. It'll make it easier to go ahead and have them line up properly. Otherwise, it can kind of become a bit of a nightmare. And hello. Come off of there. There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this in, the natural fold, and I'm going to place this where it needs to be, just inside the jeeping, and even with the bottom of my page. Okay, so now that can open. And when I put the page protector on, it will go all the way up to where that folds, and then I can just fold these back. And all will be well, right? Okay, so now we need to talk about some embellishments for this page. So hang on and let me find some that we could use. Alright, so I have a few embellishments here, but I don't have a lot of embellishments that really apply well to looking at something like this. But I am going to use this Luck of the Irish, and let me just briefly explain why. So when you enter this museum, you are told that you can take pictures of anything and everything you want to except the Book of Kells. And it's kept in a light-safe room. In other words, the room is painted completely black. There are no windows at all. And it's in a glass case, of course. And the glass case is very dimly lit. And we were told that once a day, a curator will come in and turn one page, and so that, and the reason that they do turn a page at all is because they want equal light distribution from any of the light that happens to enter that room, because light can really cause damage. And if you are a memory keeper, you know that light causes damage. If you leave your photos out, they will fade. the photos that are on your walls in your house will fade from the sunlight that comes through your windows. So, to minimize damage to such a historical artifact, they really go to extreme lengths to protect it. The reason I have a photo at all is simply because one of my kids was busy talking or something and did not hear when they said you cannot take pictures in this room. And so they took a picture and afterwards told us that they had taken a picture, and we said, we weren't supposed to do that. But then we said, well, we're glad you did. Now we have a picture, you know, but you know, they weren't supposed to. So I apologize to the curators of the museum if they ever happen to see this. It was completely an accident. It was not done maliciously, but by the luck of the Irish, we do have a picture of this because, you know, we didn't intend to disobey the rules. It just was an accident. So I'm going to just place this here just to kind of remind us that we accidentally have this photo, that it really wasn't meant for us. And this, nothing can dim the light that shines from within. I just thought that would be appropriate because of the fact that this is such a light concentrated area. I mean, they keep the light from concentrating in that area. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I need to just stop. Quit while I'm ahead, right? Okay, so I thought maybe, let's see, we can put this right here. It's a little bit too big to fit over here unless I put it underneath, and I really don't want to hide it necessarily. So if we put this here and this here, we probably just need something else up here. So a cluster in both of those places would be good. I'm going to use this one, the cutest clover in the bunch, for my cousin Kelly, who is with my husband. He's really good at taking selfies, and I am not, and so he was taking pictures with everyone, with everybody on the trip, which was really nice because I just tend to not, because I just don't have the confidence that he does when it comes to that. And we'll just add this cute little rainbow heart that can go with this. Kind of, we'll tuck it in and set it a little bit to the side. That will just sort of carry the colors here, up there, and then we'll add shine on to the other side and a cute little clover. Oh, actually, we don't need shine on because we have this. So, look, how can we do this? We'll put these underneath, like that. And we'll add a shamrock over here to the Luck of the Irish. How's that? Not a shamrock, a clover. All right. So I think that's going to be the extent of our embellishing. However, I do also have these cutie things, and I thought it might be fun to just add a couple of these dots in here. So maybe what we'll do is we'll carry some of the red, because the red that's in all of these photos. And I'm just going to kind of add just a little tiny bit of an accent in here. I'm going to add the big dots and the little dots if my fingernails will let me. We'll just do kind of a variation of them. Try to get even spacing. That's hard. These are teeny. All right, so just like that. And I think that's all we'll do on here. All right, so be sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I ought to add more dots other places on here, or if you think that's more than enough. I'm not really a dot person, but I am trying to branch out and do things I don't normally do. So using my enamel stickers and dots a little bit more is probably a good thing for me to try. All right, so let me know how you would have done it. Possibly just adding a dot close to my clusters would have been maybe a better idea. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments, and we'll be moving on to a new thing next time. So come check it out. Take care.